Welcome to the Drunkard's Path. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and had a good chance to get into your sewing rooms and get maybe some holiday stitching started, or just finishing up some quilts that you've had laying around. So let's get right into today's video. First off, we have our winner from last video, and that was for the Santa Claus Kris Kringle cross stitch pattern, and our winner is Julie Nixon 5911. So if you could please drop us a line at support@drunkardspath.com, and we can get your physical address so we can get this out to you. And don't forget, coming up at the end of this month is our big giveaway with the Layla Boutique Christmas 12 fat quarters. And we have quite a few names in for this draw. So that ends at the end of October. So we will have that draw on November the 1st, and we will contact our winner. So get your name in. If you buy something, your name automatically gets put in for this draw. This week's prize for our giveaway is this little Ort jar that I made. It has a little house. It's cross-stitched, and it's just a monochromatic one color on a darker blue fabric. So I just made this, just put it into the jar. And you don't have to use it for orts. And orts, for the people that don't know, are just your little pieces of thread that you have left over, either when you're cross-stitching or maybe when you're hand sewing. You just put them in here. I don't know why people like to save them, but they look kind of neat when they're full. They have multicolored, but you can put whatever you want into this little jar. So like, subscribe, and please leave a comment, because that's the only way we can pick our winner is through the comments. So we greatly appreciate comments that you leave, and we love reading them too. So this is our way of saying thank you. Just a reminder to let everybody know about our sale that's going on right now for all Christmas and Halloween stuff. So it's all 20% off until November the 2nd. So please take advantage of it, because we already have pretty low prices here, but another 20% off sure helps with making a quilt, because things are expensive these days, but we do our best to keep our costs down for you. So if you are looking to do some Christmas projects, or maybe just get some Halloween fabric for next year even, and there's still a little bit of time this year, so have a look on our website and take advantage of our great sale. What's new in the shop? Well, we have a new collection that just came in, and it's Riley Blake, and it is called A Walk on the Prairie. And I have to say, I think this collection is so pretty. It's just so beautiful. I had ordered it months ago, almost forgot about it, and then it came last week, and wow, I was so surprised to see how beautiful it was. So I'm going to show you what we have. This one is called Sage Gray, and this is like a large gingham, but look at the color on that. It is so pretty. I like that color. I just think it's just a nice warm color. Here we have one called Marsala, and it is kind of a, I don't know, kind of a grapey color, grapey burgundy, and it's got white dots on it. Next we have one called Coral, and this is so pretty, so feminine. This one, I'm gonna go two, is a very lovely corally pink color with these white flowers on it, little tiny flowers, but it is just such a pretty color pink. This one is called Putty. And it is kind of like a beigey color background with wheat, little things of wheat. What do you call it? I don't know what you call things of wheat, but anyway, wheat, and then little leaves. This one is called White. Well, it does have white in it, but it's a nice white and kind of a burgundy and a pinky corally colored stripe. This would be really nice for a binding. And the last one is called another Sage Gray. And this one, I'm just going to unwind it a little bit. It's just such a beautiful color. The greeny, kind of like a greeny gray color, I guess, with the flowers and the leaves. It is just, this collection, it would make such a pretty quilt. What have I been working on? Well, I've been busy doing lots of little projects here and there, and I have the next A Quilting Life by Sherry McConnell. But again, she puts out another block on the first Monday of each month. So this is October's. And remember that the outside border is always the same, and it's the inside block that changes each month. So this is the 10th block in this series of blocks. 2 more to go, and then we'll have the finishing pattern that she'll put out. So this is my take on it. And in the center is like a square, and you've got your flying geese. And I think it looks so cool. I can't wait to put all these blocks together. It's not like your traditional colors for Christmas with the pink in it, but you know, things evolve. So I think it's going to look really cool when it's all done. I actually finished a quilt top that I made since I filmed the last video, and this one is called S'more Fun Outdoors. It is so super cute. It's for kids, and what you do is you start out with a panel, and then you make all the little squares around it, or you add a border first, then the squares, and then you do these 4 blocks of fire, like a fire pit that you would have on a campsite, and you have the little campers. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. I haven't got it quilted yet, but we'll get there, as it will be a Christmas gift. Make sure I have it going the right way, and you'll see how super cute this is. This is just full of little nighttime critters that you may or may not see at a campsite. And here's the panel. Go like this. Look at that. Isn't that cute? All those little animals sitting around the fire toasting marshmallows. And we'll just kind of flip to the bottom piece, and you can see that again it has the little fireplace pieces on the bottom that you would sit around at night and enjoy with your children, grandchildren, family. This one is just super cute, and honestly, I had it sitting around for about 2 years, no joke. Just the panel and then the fabrics, and I didn't have it cut up or anything, but it was sitting there, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to finish this. And I think I have another one up there that I hadn't, I started and didn't finish, so I am determined to get these, a couple of ones that I had started, get them done, and cross that off my list. I just have to show you something. I did not make this, but my friend Pat, she gave me this gorgeous project bag. Now, what she said, her mom had done all this beautiful embroidery, and she cut out the piece, and she actually stitched up this beautiful bag for me. So I thought, how kind, how sweet. And on the back, she did all this nice quilting, kind of a wavy, and isn't it pretty? It is just so thoughtful. I was so surprised, so shocked, and it just really touched my heart. And this one I will treasure. Here's my cross stitch meets quilting, and I have this piece I'm going to show you. I will probably show it again on our floss tube when I do that later. So this is the pattern, and this one is by Primrose Cottage, and it's called Salem Sisters Stitchery. Now, I did this in the time from our last video, so it didn't take me too long, but I really wanted to get this one done. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, so I didn't use the lighter fabric that they had here. I have a darker fabric, and this is my finish, and it's so darn cute. Yeah, I stitched it all up. There's a bit of back stitch in there, but it really adds to it if you take the time to do it. And then I just got out some other fabric, some other Halloween fabric, and I decided just to make a small wall hanging with it. And like not over the top, just a small, just put a border, did a sew and flip on the corners, put some binding on it. And this is what you can do with cross stitch. You just have to really think outside the box sometimes. You don't have to put them all in frames or anything, but I just love doing this one. And I love Primrose Cottage. They have some really great patterns, so I was happy with this finish. I know I've showed this quilt recently, but I'm going to show you again, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, this is the orange and white Dresden plate quilt that I made, and Lori Ramsey quilted it for me. And when I got it done, my friend Pat said, "You should enter that into the Brigden Fair." And I went, "Really, you think so?" And she said, "Yeah, you should." So I went, "Sure, why not?" And didn't I get the second place grand champion ribbon? Yay. I was so excited. Just thrilled to death when I saw that on there. When there was another woman that won the first place, and our two quilts were hung in the center on full display, and I was tickled pink, just jumping up and down happy, because it was a local event, and that just meant a lot to me to have that. So I just wanted to say, when you make something, don't be afraid to put it out there. Just, like, even if you don't win something, it doesn't matter. It is just a lot of fun. You put a lot of time and effort into making your quilt. So enter it into a local fair or whatever. Like maybe your quilt guild's got a show coming up, or even like try the big contests if you think that, like, if it really hits you the right way, that, yeah, I think maybe I might have a chance. Don't be afraid. The worst they can say is no. And, I've been, told no on a quilt that I wanted to enter. And, I did. I just tried a little harder. And that following year, I got it into Houston. So, well, it wasn't just me. It was a collaborative affair, but we did get it. So it would just, if you don't get it on the first try again, but just have fun with it, and don't take it to heart if if you don't win. It doesn't matter. It's just all fun and games, right? And now here's our Quilting 101 tutorial, and I'll show you how to make a 9-patch. Let's get back to basics. There's probably a few of you out there that are watching these and you've never made a quilt, or you maybe have friends that maybe want to get into this craft and they don't know where to start. What should I buy? Of course, there's places want to sell you everything under the sun, but I want to just show you what do I need to get started just by making a basic quilt. So some of the basics that you'll need are a 6.5 inch by a 24.5 inch ruler. We sell the Creative Grids one here at Drunkard's Path, and this one allows you to cut your width of fabric. So you won't need any more than this ruler to go from the whole width of your fabric. And this one here is a 2.5 by 12.5 inch that will do a lot of other cuts. It's nicer to have a smaller ruler because it's just so much easier to make other cuts with that. So these two here, I would say, this is my opinion, that your most basic rulers are this one and this one. Also, you'll need a nice rotary cutter, and I use the ergonomic one, and I like it because it goes right back. If you were to drop this, it automatically will go back, and you're not going to cut your foot or fingers as soon as you let go. Seam ripper. Of course, you need some thread, and you only need a neutral to start with. You don't need to go out and buy a whole bunch of colors. I basically just use neutrals, and I like this one. It's an Aurifil, and this one is a 2405, but I think I use another one, and it's really similar, and I can't remember the number, but just get yourself some neutral threads, and this will last actually quite a long time. So you can use that for the top and the bobbin. When you get into more complex projects, it might call for you to do some top stitching or some stitching around, like a blanket stitch or something like that, where you're going to see it. Then you want to use maybe a different color that matches your fabric, and maybe a tiny pair of scissors that you could just snip off your threads. And you're also going to need an iron, something to iron on, and get a good hot one, because I like to press my seams open, and that again is personal preference. It just depends what I'm making. Sometimes you want to go press one way or another just so you can nest your fabrics together when you go to sew them together. So the hotter your iron, the better. Like, not to, you don't want to, scorch your fabric, but you're just going to leave it on. Just count a couple seconds in your head and take it off, because we're pressing, we're not ironing. So, and also, get yourself a sewing machine, and you do not have to break the bank with an expensive machine to start with. Like, I know a lot of people that have a Juki, and that just does a straight up and down stitch. Just go and get yourself a beginner machine somewhere that does. You don't need any fancy stitches. Some of them come, like, you know, even the low end ones have a selection of stitches. But you basically just want one that it just stitches straight up and down. And you usually want to stitch with a small stitch length, because when I was talking about the thread when you're sewing, you don't want to see the thread. So the tighter the stitches, then the less likely you're going to actually see the thread on the top. So actually, I was out at the fair on the weekend, and I ran into Lori from Stitchery, and she was selling some really nice machines. They were Singer ones, and she was telling me that they were somewhere like, you know, more of an entry level, or the type that you want to take on a retreat. So definitely stop out at Stitchery in Petrolia and have a look at her machine. She will set you up with something that's going to suit your needs. So to get started, I'm going to show you how to make a simple 9-patch. Now, I have another ruler here that I like to use. I have several of these rulers, and this one's a 3.5, and I've got a 2.5 and a 4.5 square ruler. And these ones come in handy for me. I think you can get them in a pack on Amazon or something, or wherever you shop for your notions. And these are quite handy, but this is not an essential. This is something that's over and above the essential rulers that I just showed you. So what I'm gonna do is I took 9 fabrics, all different, and you can go scrappy, or you can go maybe alternate 2 fabrics. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to set it on here, put it where you can see it in the camera. Now I'm just going to take my rotary cutter, now center my ruler, and there's little ridges on your rotary cutter, and that's for your finger to guide your rotary cutter. And what you want to do is you want to cut always away from you. So like that, and then I'm going to flip this around to stay safe, and trim it up. So we have a 3.5-inch square. I'm going to do that 9 times. One thing I forgot to tell you about your essentials are your straight pins. Straight pins and something to put them on. So I have this magnetic caddy, and so when I'm sewing and I'm taking pins out, I'm just dropping them on. It just catches them, and even if I were to put a bunch on a table, I can just pick them all up with this magnet. So it's quite strong, and it's very sturdy. So get yourself some nice sharp straight pins. I like the shorter ones. Some people like the longer ones, but it's totally up to you. It's personal preference. These are not expensive, so again, these will not break the bank either. So get yourself some pins. Here are my 9 fabrics all cut out. I use different ones just so you can see the full 9-patch laid out. So here's 9, and I've got this design board. These are nice to have, not an essential, but they're nice to have. Okay, so we're just going to lay them out. And you can play around with the layout a little. See whatever works for you. Actually, put that in the middle. That. Okay. So you can see, we're going to make a 9-patch of 3.5-inch squares. So it's going to end up, when it's all said and done, when it's all sewn into your quilt, this will be a 9-inch square. Don't forget, you need to have your seam allowance sets, which takes away that those extra 1/2 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these together, but I'm going to sew these together and then that together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this like that, and I'm going to use my pins. And I'm going to pin these guys together like that. And I'm going to chain piece them. So I'm going to sew them one after the other. So I'm just going to sew 1/4 inch, and I'm going to keep on going all the way down. So when I get that done, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how to iron them. So I will do that, and then we'll sew that other side. Now you can see that I've chain pieced these together. So I'm going to snip off the thread, and then I'm going to snip them apart. And what we're going to do is we're going to iron to one side, and then we're going to iron to the other side, because these are going to nest, and then this one's going to be the same. So you can see one's going that way, one's going that way, and that one's going that way. So I'm just going to shift everything over, bring my iron, and this little guy gets really hot. So just going to iron. Put it back. Press. And this one, we're going to go that way. Okay, so you can see they're all different. Slide that, put this one back. So now we're going to pin this one. We're going to do exactly the same thing. Try to match it up as best as possible so you don't see the fabric underneath. So you can just see that it's all lined up. It will make a difference if you do that. Okay, again, 1/4 inch seam, and I am doing a 2.6 stitch length. So I'm doing it smaller, or sorry, 1.6. That's 1.6 stitch length. The machine automatically, mine does, comes up as a 2.5. That is a little bit wide for me. So you can see, you cannot see the stitches. You can't see anything at all. So that's why I say go with a smaller, like a 1.6. Okay, you can see I've chain pieced these ones together. So I'm going to take my scissors and just snip them apart. And we're going to do ironing again. So we're going to go the same way. That one's going to go that way. That one's going to go the opposite. And that one, again, is going to go that way. So double check. Make sure you have it right. And just shift. Get our iron back. And go like that. So we're going to go that way. Oop, I missed a thread. Gotta snip the thread. Missed it right here. Try to snip them as you go along. You don't want to have any threads hanging off of your fabric. Go that way. So just keep putting them back in order. Okay. So now you can see we have 3 rows. Like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to nest these seams right here. One's going that way and the other one's going the other way. So you can feel it and they're going to nest in there really nice. So I'm going to take my pins, show you in a second, and pin again right here. They're going to nest really nice. So as long as you've got that 1/4 inch seam down, then things should just go quite well. Okay, so now I'm going to sew. Well, actually, here probably I'll put a pin at the start and at the end. There, that's better. So everything is secure. So I'm going to go 1/4 inch all the way down here. And I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom piece. I'm going to nest it again and sew it. So here's our sewn 9 patch, and I'm just going to snip the thread off. And I saw another one here on this end. Okay, so this is, it's all sewn together. And when you're sewing, try to keep your seams laying down. Like you don't want, when your presser foot goes over top, you don't want it to catch and then, you know, put one way and one the other. So you want to keep everything as flat as possible. So just be aware of that when you're sewing, is to keep everything down and make sure that when it's fed through where the needle is going and the presser foot and the feed dogs are grabbing, you want that seam to lay flat. Even if you've done it and you've ironed open, again, just keep it flat so it doesn't get like, you know, like a bump here. So it just comes with practice. So now I'm just going to iron the sides. Going to go to the side. Okay, we're just going to go gently press it. See, I'm not rocking the iron. I'm just pressing it down. And that one, turn it around. Your fabric sometimes tells you what direction it wants to go. So sometimes it's better to listen to what your fabric is telling you. So, which is, I don't want to touch the iron, it's pretty hot. Slide that. Okay, so it's nice and flat. This is your 9 patch. So at the end, if you want to, if things got a little jagged, you never, like even the best quilters don't get exactly perfect. Or sometimes it just shifts in the machine. So you just want to maybe clean up those threads. You can line up your ruler, your lines at the bottom. So you make sure it's nice and straight and just trim it up. Or you can line it up with a seam. So just clean it up. But don't take too much off. Just a little. Okay. So I'm going to put it back on here. And there's your 9 patch. Like, how simple was that? That was hardly any effort at all. So you make a bunch of these, and maybe you can have like a cone of solid or another, you know, maybe some yardage, and just make a 9-inch square to go in between and stagger them all the way down, and you will have yourself a quilt. And this was not going to take you hardly any time at all, but and also you can use up your scraps, and it's easy peasy. And here at Drunkard's Path, we don't want to just sell you fabric. We want to show you quilting techniques and different tips and tricks, and we would like to keep the art of quilting going, so we wanted to be able to show you as much as possible, and hopefully you can pass that on to whoever, and like and share, and see you on the next tutorial. Stay tuned for our upcoming videos. The tutorials are going to be small gifts that you can give away for the upcoming holiday season. So stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you so much, and keep sewing, keep stitching.